The first book we're going to be doing is The Great Gatsby, and so just a little quick synopsis. The Great Gatsby portrays the story of a man who is confused and intrigued by the life of a neighbor with great affluence, as well as his romantic life, which ultimately becomes one factor that destroys his life. So Nick Carraway, who served in the World War, specifically the first one, moves to a part of New York called West Egg. Surrounded by massive mansions and houses, Nick soon meets his neighbor, Mr. J. Gatsby, who eventually becomes close enough to be regarded as friends. The love affair then begins with Gatsby and Daisy, who soon causes trouble with Daisy's husband, Tom. However, this doesn't hinder Gatsby's love for Daisy, as when Daisy accidentally kills a woman, Gatsby takes the blame for her death. Enraged by his wife's death and suspecting Gatsby of being both her murderer and her secret lover, Tom not only kills Gatsby, but ends up killing himself at the end. So we're going to begin character analysis with Gatsby. So Gatsby is a man with great wealth. However, it is unknown whether Gatsby had attained this wealth through illegal or legal means. So this is a controversy that's one of the major reasons why Tom suspects and kind of hates Gatsby. Not kind of, really hates. So Gatsby is also enamored with Daisy, who turns out to be the wife of Tom. And so Gatsby seems to be a man that would give up everything for Daisy. And he goes through this through his massive parties, which have costed him a lot of money. And none of these parties had Daisy in it. And so it showcases like the level extent he's willing to take it just to simply have her in his presence. Now Daisy, at the end of the story, we really get to know more about Daisy. And so we learn that she's an irresponsible and unremorseful person. Although she caused the death of both Gatsby and George Wilson's wife, she, as well as Tom, seem to not care after all the chaos they've caused. Nick Carraway, at the end of the book, he best says it when he says, their lives went on with their lives as if nothing had happened. Showcasing how the level of affluence allows them to, live their lives without, facing any repercussions. The last character we're going to be doing is Nick Carraway. He can be characterized as a quiet and reserved person who seems to be really observant of his surroundings. This is kind of why he's the narrator. And not only is he just a narrator, he's a reliable one. And so, touching on this, he's often trying to do non-judgmental and objective in his view of violent and corrupt world around him, and seems to be the most unaffected and tolerant character in the story. So although he's nowhere close to the affluence of Jay Gatsby, Nick is close enough to, in surrounding areas, be with Gatsby, and that's why their relationship really blossoms, because Nick isn't there for Gatsby's money. He's there to build a relationship. We're going to do symbolisms and author's choices. So the first one we're going to be doing is the eyes. So Dr. T.J. Eckelberg's eyes, which are the billboards at the edge of the city, represent the omnipresent and omniscient nature of God, who watches all the immoral and crooked actions committed by characters in the novel, and these in the environment that they live in. So T.J. Eckelberg's eyes are located in the Valley of Ashes, which is a location in the novel in which many events of moral boundaries and values are crossed in pursuit of love and hatred. The second one is Jay Gatsby's mansion. So, although he lives in a massive mansion, he has no one to share his massive living space with. So this symbolizes the emptiness of the man. Although he's at the peak of what many would consider the American dream, which is a theme we're going to be talking about later, he has this empty hole that he feels could only be filled in with his love with Daisy. And so, similar to his house, they are both inhabited in terms of who they share their love with, if that makes sense. Now we're going to be talking about the hot weather. So Fitzgerald implements hot weather in a particular scene to represent the boiling tensions between the characters of Gatsby and Tom. So, due to their similar love interest, which, comes down to Daisy, the scorching weather plays into it by symbolizing how the animosity between the two is growing and is becoming more unbearable as the novel progresses. So, like the sun, when you're outside, it becomes super unbearable that, you have to do something or else, you're not going to feel comfortable or, something's going to happen to your health. The themes are justice. So, justice is a theme in The Great Gatsby as it seems to go unserved at the end of his life. So, Gatsby, who never stopped chasing Daisy's hand, dies while harboring the crime that Daisy had committed. Meanwhile, Daisy avoids all responsibility and remains as a selfish person, only caring about her own life and her reputation, although she costs the life and reputation of another man. So Daisy seems to avoid justice as she shrugs off the horrible events that have unfolded at her hands. The second one is American Dream, which I told you guys were going to be one of them. So the American Dream is characterized by the Gatsby's status and wealth, from arising from a lowly shipmate to a man living in one of the most luxurious houses. Gatsby embodies the American dream of making a living for oneself of comfort and satisfaction. However, Gatsby also seems to have a different idea of what the perfect dream is. The green light on the other side of the lake that Gatsby shares at, separated by a lake, represents the Gatsby's dream that is unattainable and impossible to achieve. So, this dream, of course, represents Daisy, which contrasts largely with what many people would consider the American dream, which is, the financial stability and financial freedom that Gatsby has.